All right, if you're a business owner and you are struggling to get qualified leads for your business, meaning leads who actually pick up the phone when you call them, leads who actually have money and a budget to spend whenever you call them, and leads who just are actually ready to take action and move forward, this is exactly how you can do it. I'm gonna show you right now. I'm in the middle of filming content, right? I'm making videos that are addressing common questions. They're addressing my actual local market, and they're also addressing my story and how I ended up here in this position. So all those categories are all those categories. Can you tell I've been filming a lot of videos? All of those topics are accomplishing very specific goals, and they're checking specific boxes that potential leads and prospects would want to have checked before they're willing to actually proceed and move forward with services. So I don't like to use myself as an example and be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is like, for me, it's easier to explain it from how does it actually make sense to you. So when you are trying to sell your services, this is how I'll say it. When you are trying to sell your services, your potential customers have questions in their mind that they're asking. So if you can be proactive and go and answer those questions for them before they even ask those questions, it's going to create a crazy effect where they feel like you're reading their mind. And it's only because you understand them and their current situation and their problem so well that this becomes easy. Because now you're just addressing and you're doing exactly what I'm doing. You're filming videos that address all these topics. So now anytime a new customer or a new lead or a new prospect looks you up online, they're just gonna find all of this content and all of this information. So I'm gonna stop talking about it now. I'm gonna get back to what I was doing and just kind of show you the whole process of how I'm doing this. So I have a computer screen in front of me with those questions. I've already gone through a handful, but the one that I'm doing now, and this is literally the process, I'm literally finding the next question and I'm just gonna film it. So on my phone right here, I have the Instagram app opened up, and you can see I'm just filming reels. So I'm filming them on my phone. I'm just holding it here and recording it. I'll actually show you in a second. But that's the process. I just have my phone, I'm reading the questions as they come up, and I'm just answering them authentically. And you're gonna see that this doesn't have to be perfect. Like, yes, I have a camera set up here. The quality might look a little bit higher than average, but keep in mind, these videos, when I post them, they're just basic iPhone videos. They're just videos like this. Just like this right here. That's all it is. It's just me on my iPhone filming a video that's answering a question that someone has. So like I said, I'm gonna show you what this process looks like, starting with the next question, which is, what's the first thing you look at when a campaign launches to know whether it's working? And I like to challenge myself. I like not to think about it. Oh, as I drop stuff, I like to try not to think about it and actually just film the video. So I'm gonna stop procrastinating from it and I'm gonna film it right now. So let me read the question again. Sometimes I forget the questions. What's the first thing you look at when a campaign launches to know whether it's working? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You ready? Business owners, this is the first thing that I look at when a campaign launches to know whether or not it's working. The very first thing I look at is, has the campaign run for at least 7 days without being touched? Okay, the reason that I do this is because Meta tells you specifically, this is all publicly known knowledge, you can look it up online. It needs 50 conversion events within a 7-day window to exit the learning phase. If that sounds like a foreign language or like that makes no sense to you, it probably should, because I don't fully understand what that means. And don't fact check me on that, because I know I read something like that at some point in time, and the specific numbers don't matter. What if it's 50? What if it's 100, right? The fact of the matter is, you have to let an ad spend for a certain period of time in order to even allow it to get that amount of conversion so that it can actually optimize and find more people who actually buy. That would probably be the closest way that I could translate that into plain English. Oh my gosh. The way that I could translate that into plain English without explaining any further. You need to give it time to actually run so that it can actually find who your buyers are. And then once you allow that to happen, the ad becomes more efficient at finding more and more buyers because you allowed it to run for a set amount of time and collect data. So that's basically what this whole game is about. It's about data collection. And when you run ads and you pay for those ads, you're essentially just buying data. So how cool is that? It's like you're a business owner, you run ads. The next line you could add in your title is data buyer, because you're buying data and you're using it and you're leveraging it to then go and find even more customers. So the original question was, what is the first thing I look at? Hopefully that answers your question. I look at, has the ad been running for longer than 3 to 5 days? And if you're killing an ad before that, before it's spent a justifiable amount, or there are technical numbers, right? Before it's spent, say, your break-even point. So it spent the amount that you would generate if you got a sale from it, okay? That would be the safest, more strategic way to do it. But yeah, that's the answer to the question. I'm gonna stop talking now. That's what I would look at. Has it been running long enough? Peace. Wow, that was a messy one. That was a messy one, okay? I try to be a little more serious with some of them. I have been filming a lot, so I think I'm gonna stop filming soon because we're going off the rails a little bit. I think I'm having a little bit too much fun with this. But I'll just show you really quickly after I filmed that. So I was just holding the button down the whole time. It did kind of hurt my thumb now that I feel this after filming, which there is probably a way to just let it film without having to hold it down, but I just hold it down. So the next thing I do is I just click the next button, if you can see that. And then it brings me to this screen, and all I really do is just add the captions to it. So if you go to the bottom, you can add captions so that people can actually read what you're saying. And then once it generates that, this is great because it does it instantly. It's very fast. Once it generates that, I'll typically just move them a little bit, right? A little towards the middle, just so they aren't blocking my face. And then what I'll do is I'll go back here and I'll add what I call a text hook to the video. So I'm sure you've heard of a hook for a video, right? There's verbal hooks, there's visual hooks, there's text hooks. The text hook is just like a one-liner, like a one-sentence line on the video that hooks people into watching it, right? So the name's pretty self-explanatory there. So what I'll do is I'll just look at the question, and again, this is pretty much how I'm doing this on the fly. The question was, what's the first thing you look at when a campaign launches to know whether it's working? So just because I've done this so much, the first thing that comes to my mind is why your ads aren't working, right? That's so simple because that's enough to make people say, oh man, my ads aren't working right now. Like this video says why your ads aren't working. Maybe I should click on it and watch it, right? So why your ads aren't working. I'm just typing that right now, as you can see. And then what I like to do too, this is like another little hack for you here. I like to use the emoji, and I'll use different ones sometimes, but I like this one a lot. This one with the eyes wide open, like why your ads aren't working. And it kind of adds that little bit of personality to that statement, right? That curiosity of like my eyes are wide open, like I'm waiting. Why are my ads not working? Right? It just adds that little bit of urgency to it. So I'll just center that up on the screen too. I'll give it a little play to preview it, and boom, it's good to go. I'm gonna hit done. I'm gonna make sure that the text, oh, this is another small thing too, kind of minor. The actual text hook that you see up there, you gotta adjust how long it is. So sometimes you can have them for the full video, and that way people kind of understand throughout like, oh, okay, like this video is about why your ads aren't working. You can also just do it for the first maybe 5 or 10 seconds of the video. And then guess what? After that, it just goes away. So that way it's not distracting anymore. If your head's towards the top of the video, it's not like cutting your head off and, looking weird. Then they can just focus on like reading the captions there. So that's my strategic reason for doing that. Really, it's just, it is what it is. I got to justify doing it somehow in my mind. So that's pretty much the process. I'm going to actually save this one as a draft because I've already made a ton of these, like I mentioned, so I have a ton of them saved. And if I just post all these right now and spam people, I don't know if that's the best, most efficient way to do this. So another last little thing here. I do just make the text hook the same as the caption. That's pretty simple. And honestly, the reason for that is because the actual words that I'm saying in the video. Like the video gets transcribed after I post it. And this is just what I've heard online. Don't take my word for it. What I've heard, what all the real geniuses out there are saying is that the algorithm, Meta, whoever analyzes and transcribes this video, that is what determines where it goes once it gets posted, right? And this is, I want to clarify, this is only for non-ads that you post as reels. So just any organic content, if you know what that means. Any post that is not a paid advertisement, when you post it, the algorithm determines how it gets distributed and who sees it and where it goes. So yeah, that's the only thing with these is I just save them as drafts because I don't want to blast a whole bunch of those at once. I want to let it breathe a little bit, you know? I want to let it breathe. But I will show you, once I save it as a draft, I have a lot of these saved up as drafts because doing this style of filming is so easy. Like I just go to the next question and repeat and repeat and repeat. And obviously I had a little bit of fun with this one, but it's very easy to produce a large quantity of video content from this. And I never run out of questions because I'm getting distracted. Let me show you before I finish that thought, before I do that, I just want to show you the sheer amount of drafts of how many videos I've filmed, right? All of these within the past 1 or 2 days, just filming all these videos. And now I can just keep posting these maybe every couple hours, maybe 2, 3 a day. Because again, I can always just sit down and just film more of them. I can go to a different spot. I can go in the car. I can, right? And the thing I was getting at, we'll get back to that now. The thing that I was getting at is that I will never run out of ideas because what I've also done, and I should show you this in another video, what I've also done is created a system for collecting data from my own customers to then be able to now create more and more and more video topics. And it's all in real time. So it's problems that business owners have right now that they're up against. It's concerns that they have. It's things that they've tried and aren't working. And it's all real data from real people in my actual market right now. So I'm just getting that information through recorded sales calls, which it's very common. I know if you hear, oh, you're recording a call, it's very common for training and for other purposes to record calls. And what we do is actually created a system that takes those calls, it analyzes them, not only from a sales performance perspective of how can we improve our processes, what did we do wrong, what could we do better. It also analyzes and breaks down what were the main concerns, right? What were the main objections that the person on the other end of the call had and brought up, and maybe they got ignored, right? Or maybe they brought something up and you know the salesperson didn't catch it or didn't realize it. So it's all about just having the systems in there for the data collection. And it's funny because I talked about this in one of the other videos I filmed as well, is that when you're running paid ads to generate leads and to get more clients for your business, you're essentially buying data. So paying for ads is the same thing as buying data, because as you get more and more data, your ads get better and better because they've been able to optimize and the ads have been able to actually learn and understand who your buyer is. So without getting too in the weeds about this, I know this video is just all over the place in terms of topics, but really when it comes to paid ads, they have to learn. So this is something that really helped me a lot, was understanding that people who just say statements like this thing doesn't work, or paid ads doesn't work, or Google ads doesn't work, or referrals doesn't work. It's like, maybe the way you did it didn't work, right? And yes, I just said that. Maybe the way that you did it didn't work because the thing works if you work the thing the right way, right? If you know how to use it, if you understand how it works, that's always my philosophy, is when I can actually understand how something works, now every single thing that I feed into it becomes intentional because I know that the thing that I'm doing serves a specific purpose that if done right, or even if done exceptionally right, will produce an even more exceptional result. So without going on a tangent about that, what the ad is doing is when you're spending it, it's trying to find what works, essentially. And I want to explain this in the most simple way possible that I can think of just off the top of my head. The ad is trying its best to find what works because it wants to perform well, because the better it does, the more you as a business owner will continue to spend on that ad because it's making you money. So to the person who says ads don't work, or they're against it, or they think that they're the enemy, it's just not how it works, right? You got to change how you think about it and look at it in your mind, because when the ad is running and now it actually is finding people who respond to it. And this is all based on the objective of the ad that you're running. So simplest example, let's say you're running an ad with the objective of generating a lead. That ad is going to go out and it's going to look for people who they think, the ad thinks, or the platform that's showing them the ad thinks that person is likely to perform the actions that a lead would perform, which would be filling out your form in this example. So when you're starting out and let's say you have no data, you've never run ads before, you're essentially gambling, right? You're guessing. That's what we're all doing. We're all guessing right out the gate. Now, there's ways to minimize the risk of that gamble and increase your odds of the outcome that you want actually happening. And that's what comes through skill and through repetition and through knowing what you're doing, essentially, right? So if you just go out there and you just try to start running ads, your expectation should be, well, you have a lot of things that you have to figure out in order to understand what actually works. Because if you're just putting all your eggs in Meta's basket and saying, hey, Meta, here's this ad that I just randomly made, go show it and go get me leads. Meta's like, okay, I'm going to try, but it's going to be hard to do that versus if you understand how to craft a good ad and you know how to create a good offer and you know how to use all these components that make up a high performing ad. And you give that ad to Meta and you say, hey, Meta, go find me leads with this quality of ad. Your results and outcomes are going to be way different, right? Because you're actually giving the platform a piece of quality machinery, or it's just an ad, right? You're giving it a good quality ad so it can go send that ad out and it can actually go find leads for you and accomplish the objective that you tried to accomplish with it. So that's the whole idea here when it comes to the ads, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to just systemizing your business and how you're actually acquiring clients, is understanding that every single step of the process is very intentional. And even down to bring this back full circle to the example of these videos that I'm filming, is that there's a hierarchy here in terms of importance. So is it important to have high quality video content as a business owner to represent your business? I would say yes, 100%, absolutely yes. But just like we did a second ago, let's reframe it for a second and actually think, what is most important, right? What are we accomplishing by having high quality, above iPhone standard quality video content for your marketing content? What is that accomplishing? Let's talk about it, right? Let's go deep on it. So what that accomplishes for a lot of the business owners that I talk to is a higher perceived value, right? It is more trust. It is the perception that you are excellent, that you are above average, that you are different from what everyone else is doing. Those are common things that I hear too. So when I say above, I don't just mean better than anyone else. I just mean almost different. So that's probably a better word to use. You're differentiating yourself, right? And here's what always happens, right? This, again, is something that is not new. It's cyclical. It happens all the time in any industry, in business, in life. It doesn't matter where it happens. It just happens. Is that the pendulum swings, right? We all know the pendulum, right? It goes back and forth, back and forth. If right now, in our market, at the time this video is being made, business owners are not all creating high quality videos or just a different quality of video that is above or different from this right here, from just an iPhone that anybody can film on, at some point that will become the standard. That will become the pendulum. Whereas more and more and more and more people do it and they start seeing results from it and they start hiring videographers or they start investing in camera equipment and filming themselves at a higher quality. As that continues to happen and more people get results from it, more people will catch on and more people will do it. And that is how any market becomes saturated. That is how any trend, how anything happens, is because it works, right? It works. But in order to stay in front of this and stay ahead of this, what I found to be immensely valuable and beneficial to me is realizing and understanding that alone is one way to differentiate yourself, right? Through the actual face value, right? Let's call it that, the face value, what people are seeing. Okay, that in a split second can do a lot when it comes to perceived value and how people view you. But I think, and this is just my opinion and through my experience, what will happen is that when everyone starts doing that, no one stands out by having the face value anymore because everyone has the face value. So then at that point, how do you then differentiate yourself? How do you then communicate to other people that, okay, I'm different from everyone else, right? Because now everyone blends in, everyone looks the same because they all are doing the same exact thing. My belief is that a way to stay in front of this, like I was going to mention a second ago, is that you can do that in a way that doesn't actually stop you in your tracks playing the same game over and over again. It's just through playing a different game, right? And I'm running around this, how to explain it, but really it's just playing a different game. So instead of trying to one up on the face value, instead of trying to one up on the quality of the video or of the message or anything like that, I would just focus myself personally on the communication that's taking place. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with the video, with the message, with the things that you're saying? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to educate someone? Are you trying to add value to them? Are you trying to just sell to them? And are you trying to take from them, right? That's what I would think about and focus on first before even thinking about the quality of what it is that I'm going to present to the market. So that's just the way I would think about it. Like I said, I would think about what am I trying to accomplish with this thing before I start thinking about what do I want the thing to look like. And that was a hard one to come to the full circle realization of, but we just did it together right here. So that's where we're at with this, right? The content, like I mentioned, filming on the phone, doing all these things, answering the questions, that's the foundation right now. Okay, I'm going to pull this back in. I know we went out there. I'm going to pull it back in. That is the foundation of what are we trying to accomplish. For me, I want to educate my potential customers. I want to inform them of not only the way that I see things or my own experiences from helping other clients. I just want them to know the reality of the market, right? Of the industry, of marketing, of the space, just what is actually happening right now, right? Just make you aware of that. And then it's up to you at that point, based on the knowledge and the information that you have, what kind of decision it is that you want to make from there moving forward. So that's the goal, right? It's thinking differently. It's not just blindly copying what you see other people doing, but when you understand, and again, we're bringing this back, when you understand why you're doing something and why each individual component of what you're doing, how that contributes back to the bigger thing that you're building. And if you're wondering, what am I talking about? Like, why film these videos? Why film ads? Why write emails? Why do all these other things? Because all of that combined together is what actually produces the end result that you want. Okay, and this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. This is something I've learned too, is that after doing this, right, after understanding marketing and sales and how to systemize things, is that once you understand how everything contributes to the bigger picture, you now can become very intentional about each and every individual component. So like I said, to bring it back, when you're making these specific type of videos that you saw me film, I know the goal of those is just to help a person who is maybe thinking about it, maybe they aren't educated enough yet, they don't know what they don't know, and just use those videos to kind of plant a seed, right? To kind of inform them, to educate them, right? To move them in the direction of having a better understanding of what's going on. That's probably the simplest way I can put that. And now if I film an ad or I film something else, and maybe that has a different goal or a different purpose, right? But just being clear on the actual reason why I'm doing a specific thing and what it accomplishes and how it contributes back to the bigger picture, That is immensely valuable and helpful for me because that is what gives me clarity. And when I have clarity, I just do the thing, right? And not only do I do the thing, but now I can relax, right? I can have fun with it. I can do it in a creative way because I'm not stressed about, oh, does it look like this? Does it look like that? When really, is that important? I'm not going to say no. It's not important. But on the hierarchy of what is the most important to what is the least important, there are things above the way that it looks that are of higher importance to me at this specific stage that I'm at. So I'm not trying to discourage you from doing higher quality content, right? If that's what we're talking about in this specific instance, because that is what I offer as a service. So I would be foolish to tell you don't do that. But again, it's not for everybody. So I don't feel bad saying, hey, look, just look at your options, right? Consider the landscape of things right now. Consider what is your specific actual circumstance? What is the problem that you're experiencing? And then what are your options and solutions to overcome that? And then once you understand that, now you can look at, okay, is this a viable option to solve my problem? Is this a viable option? And if what I'm talking about happens to be a viable option, then just click the link down below. All right, I'm going to end it right here. Click the link down below if that sounds like you and check it out. And drop a comment too. If you found this helpful, if you found it random, if you found it whatever, just say that. Or you're not going to hurt my feelings. Just say that and I'll make more of these too. Peace.